Hey friends, and welcome to a new one-shot. I'm Highlighter, and today we're going to be playing a Mortician's Tale. I got this in Humble Bundle's Surviving COVID-19 bundle, perhaps a bit ironically given the subject matter, but I know absolutely nothing about it apart from what the developer says, which is that it's about an hour long and it's a narrative tale. As it's that sort of length, I'm planning just to upload this all in a oneer. So I want you guys just to settle in, and I think this is going to be kind of deep, as a lot of these things tend to be, but especially if it's about death, so let's see what happens. September 14th, 10:15 AM. Okay, a lot of emails. Hello and welcome to our new funeral director. Welcome, Charlie. Nice to meet you. My name's Matthew, and I'm going to be the man who delivers the bodies to you. Great. Ever hear that joke about a hearse driver? No, I haven't actually. Looking forward to working together. Amy's a sweetheart, but she runs a tight ship. Okay. Instructions. Hello, Charlie. Well, you're new here, so best to explain where everything is. In your office/prep room. I would have hoped there'd be a bit of separation, but you'll find the cremation station, the cremulator station, embalming station, and obviously, since you're reading this email, your desk and computer area. I know you have experience, but let me know if you have any questions. Best, Amy Rose. Okay, so she's the boss. Matthew Jeffries, our delivery driver. Rose and Daughter's funeral home. From Jan Love. I guess my subject lines should be more professional. Now that we're business professionals, question mark. You're able to land this straight after graduating. Sounds cool. Museum gig. Okay, I don't actually see. It seems to be a friend or colleague. Probably both. I do see this one that's highlighted. Let's just see what else. Funerals Monthly. What publication? Is that a real thing? Funerals are a hard time. Don't be on your cell phone, James. Don't be a jerk, yeah. Well, define jerk when you're at a funeral. Well, you know. I know what it means, but everyone's different. Everyone shares grief differently. But I guess, yeah, don't get drunk. That's a big one. Right, Amy Rose. Today's tasks. Hello, Charlie. Hope you settled in okay so far. Matthew should have dropped off your first body for you to work on. He said you're really friendly, and he's glad to have someone young and lively to work with. You'll get used to his sense of humor. Great. Your first body is Mrs. Garcia, an elderly woman who died suddenly of a heart attack. Families asked for a closed casket funeral, so no embalming or body prep is necessary. The family seems a little bit more united than previous families we've dealt with. Strange how grief affects people differently. Perhaps having more time to say goodbye makes things a bit easier, if that's possible. That being said, although you will not be embalming Mrs. Garcia, I do think it's important to take time to clean her body. No one's going to see the body, but I like to encourage my funeral directors to do this out of respect for the deceased and their loved ones. You'll find Mrs. Garcia in the prep room. So that's where we are. And some extra details there. Okay. Sure thing, we'll get right to it. So, a warning, I guess that's don't drink embalming fluid. This is the prep room where we'll prepare bodies for burials and viewings. Because the families requested a closed casket ceremony with no embalming, you're just going to have to clean the body. Take a sponge and drag it. Okay. Don't want the towels dirty. There, you're done. Mrs. Garcia will be sent to Mike, who'll take care of dressing and putting her in the casket. It's time to go to the funeral. You're responsible for taking care of the body, but it's also important to pay your respects to their loved ones. Okay. No running, apparently. I had to talk to all of them, or... She would have hated these paintings. I usually don't small talk a lot of these things. At least that's what I was always taught. So is that Mike then? There's a kid. Probably the grandkid. I actually miss those sweaters she used to knit for me. Wow. Mom, I'm hungry. When can we go? That looks quite a small kid, I guess that's... Yeah, I heard the family specifically said no embalming. I thought it was mandatory, like required by law, but I guess not. Embalming weirds me out. Those chemicals would leach into the ground. It seems strange to be using a chemical that's known to cause cancer and putting it into the ground like that. Or in the sewer, that's what they do with the leftovers. At least embalming guarantees you won't be buried alive. Yeah, that's kind of true. Don't make me laugh, yeah. That's what we're going to do. Don't open it, whatever you do. Okay, so I guess we won't actually have to talk to them, just make showing and get back to work. October 11th, so okay, we've been here a little while. I guess we're fitting in nicely. I'm so frustrated, from Jen. Okay, let me explain this in a bit more detail. The colleague and I were discussing the tight lacer liver specimen we have here at the museum. It's from a woman who died in 1907, and the liver is tapered inwards, where the doctor leading the autopsy believed... Well, from what the doctor leading the autopsy believed was too tight lacing on her corset. It's fascinating because it's kind of controversial. Fuck's sake, what's wrong with me today? Kind of a controversial topic. Tight lacing was super popular. While people were fainting or having hysteria, it's actually been associated with visceroptosis, which is where the organs fall to the lower part of the abdomen, right? Which is super unsettling, but can also be caused by being pregnant. Wow. Jennifer wanting to rant. Tired of strangers, colleagues, male anybody's. For wearing corsets, huh? Okay, she wears them. Corset. Wait, hang on. Is she being sarcastic? October 11th. I don't know. From Amy Rose. Thanks for the hard work. Okay. Matthew Jeffrey, a story about death. I was driving around the other day, taking our clients on their last trip around town, and I was thinking, strange I know, did I ever tell you about the first time I went to a funeral? I was a teenager, about to start university, and a friend of mine was killed in a car accident, totally out of the blue. Really tragic stuff, and messed me and my friends up real good. But so, the big day, we all got into our best suits and dresses and packed ourselves into a few cars. For a lot of us, we had at least 3 different cars full of us, like clown cars. While we're in a procession going to the cemetery, somebody in our car got a phone call from a friend in a different car. Turns out some asshat driver who doesn't know not to get in the way of a procession drove through the intersection and smashed right into our friend's car. Nobody was hurt. Can you imagine getting that call? Anyways, one of my friends in the same car as me, the one who got the phone call, hung up and started laughing her ass off in a way that makes you not sure if they're really crying, or if they're gone fully off the deep end. And she laughed, and then we all started giggling. Because, go figure. Life is messed up sometimes, There's no moral, no point to the story, I guess. I just remembered that story and wanted to tell you. Because we work with death all the time, and I still sometimes get caught off guard by what that actually means. Oh, and before you get any ideas, that has nothing to do with how I became a funeral director. That decision came totally later, and is nothing unremarkable. Somebody has to do it, and I have a strong stomach, so why not? Matthew. Funerals monthly. Be respectful. big part is knowing what to wear. Funeral attire, that's quite interesting. Despite your best intentions, the wrong choice can be an accidental offense. That's definitely right. Hinduism and Chinese cultures, white is typical for funerals. For Islam, it's less about the colour and more about how modestly you're dressed. For Sikh funerals, colour of the clothing isn't as important as is dressing modestly and being able to appropriately sit cross-legged. Interesting. Okay, Amy, what's the next job? Did a remarkable job on the first one, the family was very happy. The next job is a man named Mr. Duval, an elderly man, died of old age. Nothing fancy, just a standard funeral with embalming. You can reach out to his daughter if you have any questions. She's handling her father's passing as well as can be expected. As always, don't hesitate to ask any questions. Remember to wear proper embalming gear, for formaldehyde is extremely dangerous. I know I don't need to tell you, but my maternal instincts are hard to ignore. I promise I won't mother you too much. Well, just a little. Ask Matthew. He knows. Alright, so remember a mask. Whoops, nope. We've already computed enough. I hope we're finished with that coffee. Either that or we're going to wash our hands really thoroughly afterwards. Which is an important message in this day and age. Traditional burials typically require embalming, which preserves the body and prevents its decomposing as quickly. Unless the family requests otherwise, all traditional burials will use embalming. Okay, let's start by cleaning. Okay, his eyes are open as well, which is... I'm not entirely sure why. Shave the body. Okay, I get the face, but... do they always shave the rest of it? In order to break rigor, you'll have to massage the body. Wow. I did not know that was a thing. The eyeballs deflate once the body starts decomposing. Click and drag an eye cap into each socket to give it shape. Ugh. Is that why they were open? Keep the eyes shut, you'll need to glue them. Click and drag glue onto each eye to shut it. Man, this looks super glue. The mouth sags and hollows once the body starts decomposing. Click and drag a cotton wool into the mouth to give it shape. To keep the mouth from opening, you'll need to suture it shut. Click and drag the needle and thread over the jaw to close it. Oh, I'm certainly learning a lot today. Click and drag the lotion to moisturize it. This prevents the skin drying out. Looks like there's no shortage of hand sanitizer here. Embalming involves removing blood and replacing it with preserving chemicals. Click and drag the scalpel over the neck to make an incision. Jinx. I guess you would need a strong stomach to do this. You're gonna need a tube to drain the blood. That's a very... Click on the tube. This is very different from Graveyard Keeper, I'll tell you that. Click on the cannula and drag it into the carotid. This will show you this is how you get preserving chemicals into the bloodstream. Is the carotid the neck one? Or am I thinking of the jugular? Oh, that's a trocar. Helps if you use the right thing. Now you'll need to connect to the embalming machine. Grab additional tubing. Ugh, squishy. In order to eat, have to massage again. Okay. This is not what I expected to be doing. Interactive embalming. But, you know, like you said, someone's got to do it. I mean, I don't know how much of this is real, like, but I'm guessing they're going to have researched their stuff. And sew up again. Okay. There we go. Almost done. You'll need to drain the organs of any remaining fluids. Click on the trophy. Right. This is the right thing now. Click and hold on the abdomen until all the liquid has been drained. Okay. I wonder what they do with this stuff. Do they just pour it down the drain like the guy said? And you're done. Mike will take care of the makeup as well as dressing and putting him in his casket. Time to attend the funeral. Okay. He always wanted to take his grandkids to the park to play catch. He loved catch. For a mean curveball, that's for sure. You sure did, buddy. Is that Mike again? Humming to himself. Okay. Alright. Well, he said no small talk, so let's just let these people do their thing. December 10/22. So you've been here about 3 months now. Okay, so we're wiping down the trolley, so maybe we'll do our first cremation now. What was the other machine? A cremulator, did they say? Amy Rose, thank you. Probably a thank you note from his daughter. Hi Amy, thank you for the wonderful evening you and your staff put together for my father's funeral. He wasn't always an easy man to get along with, but I'm glad to have seen him off in such a kind way. Lizzie. Meet cutes for deaf-positive cuties. That sounds like a scam subject, but okay. Charlie was doing some reading. But hear me out. Dating site, but specifically for people working in the deaf industry. I think I've heard that before. It doesn't quite sound right, but we know what they mean. You're always saying how tired you are, how tired you get, so people being scared to ask about your day. So maybe meeting somebody in the industry isn't the worst idea. I promise you, you'll consider it. It's harder for me to make sure you're seeing sunlight when I'm all the way across the ocean. I know you look like a babe with pale skin and witchy gothy aesthetics. I know you look like a babe. With pale skin and witchy gothy aesthetics are super hot right now, but vitamin D is still a good thing. No. We play games, we watch YouTube, we stay indoors with the curtains shut. Mom rant over. I'm going to try it out, because it turns out people get super scared off when you tell them you work in a museum filled with dead bodies. Do you know how not interesting our people find teratomas? I do not know what that is. But I know what it's like to not be interesting. Right, from Matthew. Yeah, because Jen was in Canada, wasn't that what her museum thing said? Matthew, I don't like the look of this not one bit. I know you've only been with us for a few months, but maybe you're aware of the trouble Amy has been having. A small mom-and-pop shop like Rosendaughters can't compete with the big guys. Anyway, don't tell Amy I said this to you. Also, I'm starving, so I'm gonna grab some fast food before taking the hearse through the car wash. Do you want anything? I'm gonna take the hearse for the drive-thru, of course. It freaks people out. I love it. They get so awkward. Yeah, I can't even imagine. But yeah, I guess I would be as well. Although I'd feel worse if the hearse was going into the deliveries, but never mind. Hey Matthew, it's embarrassing. It seems I have miscalculated some of our income. I don't have enough to pay you this week. Jeez. It'd be terribly inconvenient if I cut you a check for next week instead. If you need the money urgently, let me know. I feel terrible about this. I can cut you a check in my personal account if need be. Okay, I hope things are not just generally going bad. LGBTQ funerals, respect. Death registration and fetal death reporting. Enter male or female based on observation. Do not abbreviate or use other symbols. If sex cannot be determined after verification with medical records, after verification, inspection of the body or other sources, enter unknown. Do not leave this item blank. Leaving it up to observation obviously enters world of issues, Since bodies can be so different, and because of ingrained bias, people can draw incorrect assumptions based on their own inaccurate observations. California has passed what is known as the Respect After Death Act, which states that the death certificate must reflect the deceased's gender identity as they lived it. So a step in the right direction. Now, didn't they say, death registry, fetal death reporting. So, what does that mean for dead babies? How did they live it? That's opening a whole bag of worms. People who are trans deserve the same respect and death that people who are cisgender receive. Misgendering and death takes away this respect. It can also inflict hurt and trauma on spouses and friends that survive the deceased. So what can we do as funeral directors? Listen to people who come into your office. In America especially, some marriages may not be recognized as legal, depending on the laws around same-sex marriage. But this doesn't mean you're not dealing with two people who have loved each other in the same way as another couple. Listen, learn, and always be respectful. While you have to work with the next of kin, your duty is also to ensure that deceased receives the utmost respect in their burial. If a funeral is to honour the deceased, then do that. Honour them. That's good advice. Should be mandatory advice. Hello, Charlie. Today's funeral is for a woman who died from breast cancer. Nothing fancy, just a standard cremation. Okay. So do we have to treat the body in any special way? I imagine so, yeah. Before we cremate her, we'll have to prepare her. Family brought clothing and jewelry for her to wear. It's important to remove these before the cremation process, as not to damage them. Remove the necklace, okay. Oh, wait, hang on. Oh, I think I said we'll put it in the urn along with the ashes. We need to be able to identify Mrs. Hall's remains after she's been cremated. Click and drag the round ID tag and place it in the coffin. Right. Alright, is that all we have to do? Okay. I must say, I don't think I'd be able to do this job. Maybe partly squeamishness, but I mean, I don't imagine I'm the only one who has issues with death as a concept. This is the cremulator. Contrary to popular belief, cremation doesn't burn bodies into ash so much as bone fragments. I had read about this before. Using the cremulator will break these bone fragments down into ash-like remains. Let's start by placing the urn down. Okay. Put bones down there. Oh, look, physics. I know, priorities. I'm having too much fun. I need to stop that. Now that all the bones are processed, bring the urn back. Put the urn in, and the ID tag. Okay, Amy will take the urn to the funeral parlour and present it. I guess we have to also pay our respects. So is Amy here? Is that... She would have hated the music. She never wants her funeral to be sad. She would have wanted us smiling. Glad she was cremated and not in an open casket or something. Seeing her like that, I don't know if I could have. At least we all got to say goodbye. She would have liked that. She fought really hard. She was proud of herself. She never gave up, not once. Interesting what she said about the music. I recently read that, in the UK at least, always look at the bright side of life as... I think it's gone up from being one of the most popular funeral songs to, I think, being the most popular. Or most requested, anyway. I don't know if that just is a thing about the British psyche or if it's a changing attitudes, but... Yeah, funerals, green burials. Natural cemeteries are becoming more popular and are focused on a few rules. Mainly it's that bodies aren't allowed to be embalmed with chemicals that can damage the environment, and bodies must be buried in a biodegradable shroud or casket. Not only is this better for the environment, it's also cheaper. At Union Cemetery in Ontario, Canada, a natural burial is just over $1,000, so better for the people, the environment, just maybe not so good for big business. Let's not forget, people, this is still business. But really, why go green? Green burials help preserve natural resources, work to reduce carbon emissions, protect the health of those preparing bodies, and restore and preserve natural habitats. Embalming fluids tend to contain formaldehyde, oh dear, hiccups, and funeral directors report a higher incidence of leukemia. Going green and not using toxic chemicals for embalming helps protect funeral directors, while at the same time lessening the impact they have on the environment after we're gone. Yeah, that's all good things, I guess. I'm playing a new game called Tales from the Crypt Sweeper. It's like Minesweeper, but difficult. Okay. Amy Rose, I thought I would forward this to you. In situations like this, we typically connect people like Ryan with a grief counselor or other professionals who can really help him. Sometimes we get emails like this when people don't know where else to turn. It's difficult and family isn't always the most reliable for some people. Usually I'd be happy to connect him, but I'm starting to feel tired today, not my usual self. I don't like where this is going. And it'd be good for you to start building these kind of relationships on your own. From Brian Garcia. I know this email might be a bit odd, but you said if I was ever having troubles I should reach out, and you would know somebody I could talk to about all of this. I don't know what to do now. I know my grandmother had lived a full good life and was very happy, and that she's not in pain anymore. But I still feel empty. I've never felt this empty before. What am I supposed to do now? I thought I was stronger than this. Can you refer me to someone to talk to? I don't want to freak out my mum right now. She's dealing with enough, with work and the will and trying to be the best mum she can. I just need somebody to tell me it'll be okay. Thank you and sorry for being an inconvenience. So that's the kid who seemed a bit disconnected. I can understand that. Can actually play Minesweeper. Nice. God damn it. That's like every Minesweeper game I've ever actually played. Oh, for God's sake, come on. Yes. Okay. Don't like it. I promise this isn't going to be the entire video. Trying to remember how you play Minesweeper now. So, 4? So 4. I thought the numbers were how many ghosts or mines, I suppose. Ugh, I don't know. Doesn't matter. Anyway, close the tab. Get back to work. Amy Rose. News about the future of the funeral home. It's with a very heavy heart that I write to let you know that Rose and Daughters will no longer be in business. Wow. The truth is, I don't know what to say. Since my father passed away, I've done my best to make Rose and Daughters warm and friendly to anyone who chose to use their services. It was my memorial to him. The original Rose, in a lot of ways. Him, Rose. And you've all become like family, including you, Charlie, our most recent addition. It's been getting harder to make ends meet. Rent is going up, and I'm finding less and less like I have the energy for this business. A lot of competition, larger corporations, and we've been bought. Wow. Hillside Heritage Enterprises Inc., a company that owns many funeral homes in the city and across the country, will replace Rose and Daughters starting from the beginning of next month. Same building, same name, keeping the name for tax purposes. But honestly, I'm trying hard not to just see it's a move on their part to keep up the image that it's a family-run business. Yeah, that's definitely happening a lot. They have a good reputation, and they've agreed to keep us all on. That's a good thing. That was one of her stipulations. Wow, she really is like a mother in some ways. Would have loved to have a company lunch, but didn't have the heart to tell us in person. Jeez. Charlie, I thought you'd like to see this thank you note. Hi Amy, I'm so eternally grateful that you were able to accommodate our request for my sister's funeral. It was a beautiful service, and she would have been happy with it. It's such a weird thing to say, isn't it? Yeah. I know what you mean. Right, please see the note about the pacemaker. They can be tricky. I asked for any special instructions. Just please cremate my father. I had a pacemaker. Doctor told me it would need to be removed. Okay. I'd never thought about that, but yeah, it makes perfect sense. What do you do with a pacemaker? I guess it'll probably survive the cremation process. It came directly from the hospital, so we don't have to worry about removing valuables. Wherever he has a pacemaker, we'll need to remove. Okay. Because pacemakers are batteries, of course. They'll explode inside the hot heat of the cremation machine. We definitely don't want that. You're true. Let's remove the pacemaker. So, ugh. I really need those sound effects, jeez. Yes, we do. That's nothing but honest. Yeah, ID tag. I guess we don't have to sew him back up. That's the thing about medicine and funerals and all this stuff. It's really interesting when you think about it. It's just a shame that it has to be a thing, you know? And I guess it's easy to attach yourself until it's, you know, until it's your someone. Oh, put the bones in. Come on, there we go. It's not letting me grab that from the middle for some reason. Okay, earn ID tag top. Okay. So I wonder if we're gonna have to do more of this when we get sold to these new people, because I guess Amy's not gonna do it. I wonder if he ever liked me. He was nice to me, but I don't know. He never really seemed to care if I was there or not. I think we all know people like that. What do you want to do afterwards? Pretty nice, let's go out and find a patio. I could really use a beer, yeah. And this guy looks really depressed. I always told him to quit smoking, but of course he never listened to me, so that figures. Well, the guy didn't look very, very old. Didn't look elderly. Maybe he got lung cancer. Did you ever end up clearing the air with your father? No, not really. He sounded like a difficult man. He was stubborn, that's just it. Stubborn. I wonder if these people really notice us. Like, are they aware that we're learning all about their deceased, or... Are we intruding, or are we just there? I thought I'd pass this along. Another thank you. Thank you for the service. I apologize if I was abrupt. It's kind of a shock to me. I didn't feel comfortable with the whole process. It wasn't supposed to die yet. It hasn't been easy. You hate mushrooms so much. It's a biodegradable suit that the deceased wears. It's made of what people call biomix. Mushrooms and other things. It's a mushroom suit. What the hell was she talking about? It's used to help decompose bodies, neutralize toxins, and provide nutrients for the soil for plants. I think this one company even offers casket liners for use in green caskets. I don't know, is that... Well, is there a point in that in particular? It seems like you can, like when I hear the words neutralize toxins, I am immediately skeptical. But hey, maybe I'm wrong. No, things to avoid saying at a funeral. At least they're no longer suffering. Even if it's true, nobody wants to hear that. Where they say no religious statements, just don't. Of course not. They're with the angels now. That's religious. Let me know how I can help. This one is tricky. You want to help, but those in mourning won't always ask for help. If you want to help, suggest specific things, for example, and suggest specific things. Full stop. Or semicolon, maybe. For example, I'm free if somebody needs to babysit. Actions are better than passive statements. Cook something, take them to their favourite restaurant, or buy tickets to see a movie together. Well, I don't know, maybe movie tickets might send... Well, I mean, it's coming from a good place, but they might not be in the mood for a movie right then. Again, everyone's different. I know how you feel. Even if you think you do, everyone grieves differently. Don't focus on yourself. For a quicker version of this list, don't say stuff just for the sake of saying stuff. Just say, I'm sorry if you don't know what else to say. From Amy Rose, our son. I was hoping you wouldn't have to confront the situation yet. Can't confront the situation yet, always, they're never easy. Rose and Daughters has been asked to prepare the body of a young man who took his own life. He had a will prepared and asked for cremation, but the families demanded a traditional burial instead. Unfortunately, he didn't make anyone his power of attorney, or didn't have any witnesses sign his living will, or his advance directive regarding these wishes, so his family's in legally the right to do whatever they want with his body. It's unfortunate, but we have to do as the family wishes. Matthew's graciously offered to take this on if you're uncomfortable with the subject. Instead, we have a second body you could prepare for a funeral we're hosting later. Is it something we're comfortable dealing with? Well, it's a tough one, and I don't know if I would be, but you know what, this is our job. We have to do this, whatever happens. We're gonna have to do it eventually, so. Even though, I've done that again. Even though, oh, come on. Just move the computer over slightly. Can we actually, yeah, we can just move, she just wasn't. Yeah, well, that's what they're saying, honouring the dead, but... That's interesting. They say it's their son, a young man, but... The implication is that he's old enough, you know, to... like, legally old enough to make such decisions, but... I don't know. What's right isn't always what happens. We should all know that. And already this is routine. Just stitching a body, stitching a mouth shut, gluing the eyes shut. Which I suppose, like, if this is your job, it will become routine no matter... I mean, I don't know. I'm guessing. I imagine it's one of those things where you have to disconnect yourself. You just have to do it. Anyway, enough philosophizing. That's the thing with, like, analyzing, with analysis of stories like this is... I'm sure the writers, they have their own perspective. I'm sure I've got mine, and you'll have yours. Whether they all match up, that's a totally different thing. And as an introvert, naturally, I'll veer on the side of caution and try and get everyone to get along. That's the way I'm seeing it, is this is becoming routine. And we've been in this job for about, what, 6 months? And I guess Charlie has to just... well, has become used to it. Just does this as a matter of routine. Otherwise you'd go mad. This is going to be interesting to see what the family... Interesting to see what the family says when their son killed himself. You know what I mean. I wish we were closer. Can't believe this is real, my baby brother. Should have played more games with him when he asked. I still can't believe it. I feel like I should have known. Been able to do something. I know, but it hurts. I heard it wasn't going to be open casket. I'm surprised it's public. Usually funerals for these circumstances are more private. I don't know, that seems a markedly different reaction to the rest of them. But everyone is different. Jan, Ford, you're invited to attend a deaf cafe. Can't really write much right now, I've got a lot to do. She seems to be in like a medicine museum. But I don't know if she actually knows anything about... Well, you know what I mean. I don't know if she's like a medical doctor. I don't even know if we are a medical doctor. I don't know if funeral peoples have to have that level of knowledge of anatomy. You're invited to a deaf... I get the feeling that she doesn't get it. She's trying to be nice, but... Mind you, I don't know what Charlie's perspective is. I don't know if they're friends like that. Alright, now we're Hillside Heritage. Operated by Hillside Heritage Inc. It does feel depersonalized quite a lot just by that one line. Different funeral traditions. Funeral rites in our own culture may be something many of us may be unfamiliar with. For many people, all they know of funeral traditions are what they've seen in the media. But, and I think this goes without saying, funeral rites and traditions aren't the same across the board. Different cultures have different protocols for cleaning the body. For cleaning the body. To different... That's not a great sentence. Different cultures have different protocols for cleaning the body to different aspects of the service. It's hard to even read, even though I know what it means. Religion provides different paths for dealing with death, but the goal is always the same. To offer support, guidance, and ease to people who are grieving. In Judaism, interment usually begins immediately after someone has passed. Up until burial, the body is never supposed to be alone, so often families will appoint a shomer, guardian, to remain with the body. Preparations for burial begin as soon as possible in Muslim traditions as well. Local Islamic community organizations are often also involved and help the family make arrangements for the funeral service and burial. But not all practices are strictly religiously focused. In the aughts in South Korea, the amount of graveyard space began to shrink. No, the aughts, like what I have heard people called the noughties, which I hate that word, but never mind. Graveyard space began to shrink drastically, causing a law to be passed that required families to remove a loved one's body from its burial place after 60 years. Wow. Many families began to cremate more often, but there are also companies that compress remains into beads in turquoise, pink, or black, called death beads. This occurs in North America, Europe, and Japan, but remains much more common in South Korea because of the space issue. Wow, death beads. See, right now there's part of my brain that's thinking, wow, that's weird. There's another part of me thinking, wow, that's cool. And another part of me that's like telling the other two, shut up, it's just different culture. Isn't that weird the way your mind works? And not all practices are somber either. Ever hear of turning of the bones or the Famadihana, a ritual by the Malagasy people of Madagascar? Famada Hannah has families return to the ancestral crypt, exhume the bodies wrapped in cloth before dancing with the bodies to lively music. The practice is a celebration and remembrance and a way of keeping the deceased involved in family news. Death can be a difficult time for many people, obviously, but that doesn't mean there isn't a beauty in the ways we choose to honour and celebrate our deceased. I'm reminded. I can't remember where it is offhand. I'll see if I can remember or look it up afterwards, but there's a place where the dead are hung in trees, I think? In sort of cocoons or hammocks or something like that. I'll have to look that up. Anyway, from Matthew, what the hell? Can I just say, first off, this is bullcrap. Knowing how these corporations run, I wouldn't be surprised if they're monitoring our emails. Don't really believe that. I'm just upset. I get that Amy didn't have much of a choice, and they just swooped in, and now we have to deal with their BS practices. They're colder than the corpse I picked up from the morgue. Who charges this much for funerals? It feels dirty and exploitative. Well, on one hand, yes. On the other, Amy evidently wasn't charging enough. If she was rather charging less and still wasn't getting the business. From Chad Grant, welcome. We're pleased to bring on Rosen Daughters as part of Hillside Heritage Inc. There will be another institution among hundreds. But of course, as part of the adjustment process, there will be a number of changes that come to the Rosen Daughters. We send out the memo and expect them to be followed impeccably. So I guess... I'm expecting someone's going to get fired eventually. Charlotte. God. Yeah. Below are the details for our next client. Ensure you followed the specifications exactly. I will review your work in a month. Leah Ionesco. Thank you, Mr. Grant, for the cremation. Bike accident was more than I was expecting. I know she wanted to be cremated. To be honest, I don't think I could bear seeing her like that after what happened. Okay. Just thinking, did the suicide before, did they mention how he died? Because this is an accident which apparently, well, from the sounds of that email, it was quite bad, but I guess that would be a bit too far for them to actually detail the injuries in the game, which I am not complaining about. I also kind of expected these hints at the top to start going away, but I guess that's less about challenging us and more about the story. Should we do a vigil at the spot? Careless drivers. Yeah, bike meets cars. Usually awfully bad. I'm glad I'm here, but wow, I need a glass of wine to binge watch something. I have to go for things, how I'm supposed to decide what to keep. If you need help, I can help. Thanks, but no, I don't know. It's so intimate, feels like I should do it myself. It should kill me if others saw the things we have. So it's a closed book except to me. To you, her. Except to her. Yeah. So glad it was a cremation I would have lost it, seeing her body. Yeah, regarding private things, I know someone who used to be a friend, long story. But they always said they had one trusted person who'd clear out a certain drawer they had before before anyone else cleared out their things. She was also so careful, wore her helmet signaled, used bike lanes, asshole drivers need to pay attention. That's true. What's happening to the driver? No, I haven't wanted to ask. It's been hard enough on them without asking about the legal side of it. Let's see what we can do to help. Death of their partner, James. One thing in common, it seems to be, and yeah, it's common sense, I know, but sudden deaths, people seem to take it harder. They just don't have the time to. I guess that I know from experience, when you know it's coming, just not when, do you have time to make peace with it? Best you can, I suppose. From Matt, I need a drink. Beer after work. Chad. New rules and codes of conduct. Required uniform strict dress code. No tattoos to be visible. And speaking of customers and clients, consider the opportunity to upsell. For fuck's sake. Food is no longer allowed to be brought in and students instead encourage the deceased loved ones to purchase our premium sandwich and appetizer food. Home funerals. Why do it? The appeal of a home funeral is apparent for many, especially if the deceased was someone very close to you. The idea of keeping them at home until they are ready to be buried or cremated can be comforting. It wasn't that long ago that we were taking care of our own deceased, but nowadays people are quick to pass off their loved ones to a funeral home. Most families aren't given the option and assume this is mandatory. Funeral homes will almost always prepare the deceased using embalming and other methods to make them appear more alive, but isn't the process counterintuitive to the grieving process? Being around the deceased allows the bereaved to spend a longer period of time with their loved one's body, which can help them mourn or give opportunities to family members and friends to see the deceased one last time. I suppose that's kind of like a wake, but not the same, but sort of the idea. I think, from what I understand of wakes, never actually been to one, fortunately. The idea of keeping the deceased bodies at home might sound gross, but it's important to understand that decomposition takes a long time, and you can further slow this process by keeping your home cool and dry. To be around your loved one and to see them decay naturally is an important part of the grieving process. Home funerals aren't just more intimate, but they're also economical. A traditional funeral, complete with body prep, service, flowers, cards, and many other hidden costs and fees, can cost $7,000 to $10,000. When you're able to take care of your loved one yourself, to wash and dress them, to organise their viewing from home, the only cost remaining is entirely the cremation or burial itself. However, it's important to remember, or to understand, that different rules apply given on what state you live in. In all states, it's legal to have your loved one's body at home after they die. States like Alabama, Connecticut, Illinois, Indiana, Louisiana, Michigan, Nebraska, New Jersey, and New York require a funeral director's involvement, from signing death certificate to overseeing burial or cremation. Yeah, well, I think, was that this one or was that the last one? Yeah, here we go. It wasn't long ago that we're taking care of our own deceased. Well, yeah, that's true. From what I understand, it's, I don't want to say relatively recent, but go back 100 years, 150 years, a lot of it would be done at home. Yeah, I already saw these. Green burial policy. I've reviewed your request on behalf of a potential family, inquiring if we can and will perform green burials. I should have informed you, but we do not do this if they're not cost effective. Man. Is it ironic that I want to kill this guy? Dr. Zayas. Saw a video of a gorilla walking like a human. I don't know, is this froth and light relief, or is she really that dim? If she's a curator of a museum, I don't really think it's that one. But who knows? We already saw it. Chad Grant, the latest contract acquisition. Received a contract with the city to dispose of unclaimed bodies. Been paid a decent wage from the city. Cremation is preferred, as it's the most cost efficient of the two options. Well, why not do a goddamn green burial then, you asshole? First unclaimed body, almost a middle-aged man, possibly homeless body, is yet to be claimed. No prep, cremation. Well, I can't say about the UK, but it definitely does seem like the way things would be done in America. Doesn't have any valuables, so ID tag. And that's it. And the body's unclaimed. Well, is there going to be anyone next door? Nope. Oh, right. I knew that. Maybe it's not such a bad idea that the hints are still there. Okay. No. No one at all. April 9th, 10:19. So what's that, about 8 months we've been here? From Chad, thrilled to announce sending a little contract the Morning Valley Hospital, allowing us to access all the cadavers that come from their pediatric and maternity wards. Wonderful. We're excited for the opportunity to work with the Morning Valley Hospital, which intakes over 100k patients and resides over $15 million in funding. Cunt. Water everywhere, not a drop to drink. Water cremation. Great start. We can call it a few different things, like flameless cremation, bit of an oxymoron, but we'll let it slide, or perhaps more commonly, resumation. It's technical. No. I'll try that again. It's bad apostrophe. Be gone. Its technical name, though, is actually alkaline hydrolysis. Whatever we want to call it is here, and it's an environmentally friendly alternative to traditional cremation. But for the sake of the newsletter, we'll call it water cremation. You know that traditional cremation and burials take a huge toll on the environment, the higher energy consumption, the added greenhouse gas effects being the chief amongst them. And water cremation is an alternative method for the eco-conscious amongst us. How does it work? It's basically a water-based chemical process that uses really strong alkaline water, heated up very high. That sounds like a lot of energy, but probably less than pyro cremation? Fire cremation? Whatever. Regular cremation. Basically works like a sped-up version of natural decomposition. The excess water gets put through the same water treatments, processes any sewage water factory, and alkaline hydrolysis uses significantly less energy than traditional cremation processes. See, I should just wait until I'm finished reading, shouldn't I? Neat, huh? It's been around for a bit, and in some places became legal around the end of the first decade of the aughts. Not a bad alternative for those who don't want their death to have any greater impact on the environment than necessary. From Jen. Dating a special effects makeup artist, and she's like the coolest person I've ever met. She loves blah 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 blah. So I really liked the idea of a support group for people who have been possessed. Eh? Is this just a weird joke? Working with death and spending so much time thinking about death actually makes me happier. Makes everything feel so much more worth it, you know? Memento Mori, or whatever they taught us in that one poetry class we took. Okay. Still kind of in shock from your last email. You think you're going to do it? That matters. What are we gonna do? Where's my outbox? Matt, Charlie, it's official. I put in my notice. Know how unhappy I am working for Megacorp 101. My skills are useful in other professions. I'm not worried about myself. But you, I am worried about. You're too good for this corporate scum. You actually care about the people you work with and for. Don't let them defeat you. What have they done now? Oh yeah, the pediatric hospital. Home funeral for my wife, Charlotte. I see you were not able to convince the Dimka family to take a standard funeral. I have to contact them in order not to lose the sale. Please read how to properly fuck you. I don't want to see we've lost any customers because of your refusal to upsell. Regarding all this, this guy's a real asshole. Wait, oh, what was that list then? Finally, I can actually click back on it. Register a business. If you're interested in starting a funeral services business, need a list. Holy shit, maybe we are going to escape them. I'm glad I've been reading these funerals monthly. I should have read the first one more carefully. The deceased family wants to open casket. Okay. Standard process. Routine. Clean, 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 clean. Sash. Eye caps. Glue. Cotton buds. Stitch. Moisturize. Slice. Tube. Cannula. Shoot, we are actually getting good at this. It's only been, what, a year? Years passed in an hour. If that doesn't make you feel old, don't know what else does. And you have been feeling old for the last 20 years. Well, no, maybe not quite that long. How old would I have been 20 years ago? Shit. 10 years at least. Or grumpy. Does grumpy equate with old? Usually. In my experience. Not the wrong one. I want the big spiky drippy dropper thingy. So what organs are we draining here? Is it like kidneys, stomach, liver? I don't know. I think we're getting too far beyond the curtain there. God. Don't want to think what what her husband is. Feels so impersonal. She would have hated it. What do you think of that trailer I sent you? Wow. Okay. Talking about how impersonal it is, then talking about something on YouTube. I'm starving. Why do they make me hungry? I'm always hungry. I know that feeling. Zach's didn't buy the premium sandwich package. It's so cold in here. No, I bet you even they don't have the air conditioning on too high, because that would be expensive. This looks like the husband. Are these the same people? Or is that the point? They all look the same because we don't care, because we're just more attached to the bodies. Did we do the wrong thing? I know, but that Chad guy seems right. Don't ever trust anyone called Chad. Ever. Don't want to dishonour her memory by letting her rot. No. Just want Mum to know I loved her. Fights happen, yeah. Believe it or not, the impersonal Megacorp actually doesn't do as careful and kind of job as the original small-time thing. Oh. Okay, so this is the end of August. Are we at home? From Amy Rose, congratulations. Charlie dear, I'm so proud of you. I knew there was something special in you when I hired you for Rose and Daughters. If there's anything I can do, don't hesitate to ask. Yes, I sorely miss you and Matthew's terrible sense of humour. Yeah. From Matthew. You'll never believe what new job I'm doing. When I first became a hearse driver, I was told that my most important job wasn't steering, it was sympathising. I respectfully disagree. And thankfully, I will concentrate on my driving skills. Since I'm now working as a, wait for it, bus driver. A school bus driver, Charlie. Can you believe that? Pretty sure if I said the most important part of my job now wasn't steering, I'd be fired immediately. I didn't know how else to tell you, but for some reason I was worried you'd think less of me. But I don't know why. I've never been the judgmental kind. And besides, corpses are way easier to deal with than children. Screaming children, might I add. I actually love it. These kids are pretty cute, but don't tell Amy that I told you that. She was always harping on me for not having any kids, and for being all cynical about them. Congrats on the new business, I'm proud of you. And Jen, congratulations. So happy for you. I know it's been a rough year for you. Seriously, I think the wine intake saw a bazillion% increase. You'd stuck through it like a champ. You deserve this. Finally being your own boss is a great move. Not trying to be too cheesy, but can't wait to be home next week for a visit. And to check out the new space. Great. Yes, have you heard about those green perennial pods? Yeah. Magnolia Forest. I had one job to do, just read the thing. Prices. Home burial. Good. $1,000 all inclusive. $2,200 for adults, all inclusive. Direct cremation, $600. Wow. Infants buried at no charge. See, this whole sounds very... $600. Jeez. I mean, for me that seems really cheap. That's, what, £450-ish? Yeah, I'm kind of worried though. This seems very cheap, especially considering how much the other place was charging. How long is it going to be until the same thing happens to us as to Rosendahl's? Eileen Hansen, today's the day already, isn't it? Can't believe how quickly this has come up. Thank you for understanding and your work. You made today easier already. See you at 1. See you soon. So it looks like we're back to being the caring, green female director that we always wanted to be. This hurts. I thought it'd be easier, but it's not. It hurts so much. Thank you for helping me give the funeral she always wanted. I think we're ready to get started. Mortician's Tale. Well, that was... I didn't know what to expect, but that wasn't it. That was, I was expecting it to be more of a, going for a tearjerker. But it's actually quite interesting. And, it's been an hour and 5 minutes, and... yeah, it's actually, quite impressive. Be able to get an emotional response. I mean, clearly not falling about or mess up, but getting an emotional response to Chad and to Amy and Matt, who you never actually saw. But getting that in an hour, that's impressive. It's kind of like Dr. Horrible, where something happened at the end, free of spoilers, but that was Joss Whedon, made us cry after only an hour, so... yeah, that was very interesting. There's a lot of stuff I didn't know. I didn't even know that I didn't know it. And there we go. Well, who would have thunk it? So, thanks so much for watching A Mortician's Tale. If you like this and you want to see more one-shots, let me know in the comments below. If you want to talk about this, or if you just have any comments. Also let us know below. Be sure to like, subscribe, and share the video. That helps out a whole lot. And I guess I'll see you next time. See you then.